Earlier, we brought you a report about the building in Lagos that was alleged to have sunk, with the landlord claiming that report was fake news. I'm now being joined at this time for more on the torrential rainfall and heavy flooding in some parts of the country. The Director General, Nigerian Conservation Foundation, Joseph Onoja, joins us live from the United Kingdom. Dr. Onoja, as it is, the rainy season is here and the impact can be seen all around us. Would you say that this free gift of nature is a blessing or a curse?
Well, it is a blessing, and we will continue to enjoy the blessing as long as we do what we ought to do as human beings. Because if we don't treat nature well, nature will bite us, and to bite us very hard. So that is why we need to treat nature the way we should treat nature. So it is a blessing, I will say.
That analogy of biting is quite interesting and I must say instructive. So in what ways have we been doing it wrong such that nature appears to have been biting us as humans?
Yeah, so for instance, we build indiscriminately. We build in areas we are not supposed to build. For instance, somebody will see a flood plain. A flood plain, it means that a flood plain will always have flood when it's time for flooding. So that is why it's called a flood plain. And then because it's dry, as at the time the person is building that house, the person will go ahead and build it. And water will not forget its level. So when the flood comes, they will definitely go to where they know to go to. But this time around, unfortunately, is in some people's bedrooms or their sitting rooms or their car parks and so on. So if we don't do things the way we should do things, then nature will come back and bite us. So if a place is a floodplain, it is common sense that someone should know that flood will happen in that place. So there are some low-lying areas that we should be left the way they are supposed to be left. And in areas where we have wetlands and they have been sand-filled, without providing an alternative, water will definitely find its level when it comes back. So when it comes back to such areas and there are no places, there are no place for the water to go to again, it will go to where whatever it is there, and it happens to be sometimes in people's homes. So that is why you find these cases. And some of these areas are not stable for building, and then we'll build without putting nature in place. So definitely it will bite hard in that sense. And sometimes with even fatality of human lives.
Well, you've spoken extensively about floodplains and all, but how many of the average Nigerians using this country as a yardstick, for instance, know what a floodplain is? What happens to the authorities being in charge, being on the streets to know what is going on out there to stop constructions in these kinds of environment?
Yeah, so the government is not absolved of this fault because there should be building the development control agents of the government who should stop this place from happening. Especially, there are cities have what we call development plans and drainage plans. But sometimes some people just go ahead and build in these areas without the necessary authorization to do so. And the government will close its eyes from making sure these things doesn't happen the way they are happening, and then nobody will be held accountable. So both the government agencies responsible are culpable in this, and the people also who are doing this are culpable, because common sense will tell you that a place that is low-lying will definitely have water in such places. So people should go to higher areas than building in lowland areas. So they are, in summary, the government is culpable and the people developing in such areas are also culpable.
So how do we go? Where do we go from here? How do we make a difference, preserve nature, preserve the environment?
You see, in every sane environment, which Nigeria is, there is a development plan. There is a drainage master plan. But I know in Lagos, there is a drainage master plan. But how much has that master plan been implemented? And that's the problem we are having, because that master plan was designed before this development. And that master plan was supposed to be followed religiously. And because those master plan was designed based on what they saw on the ground, based on surveys, these are science-led designs. But over time, sentiments and so on has made them to sometimes we just jettison the design. And if we do that, certainly we will have these problems coming on, and we'll continue to talk about this issue over and over, year in, year out. I have been granting such interviews over 5 years now, and the same issues continue to happen. And I promise you, if we don't do the right thing next year, God willing, you will still call me again, and we will talk about flooding happening in such areas. So for us to, because we have missed the mark, we must go back to the master plan. And if we go back to the master plan, let me be very frank with you, some homes, some houses will be destroyed, because those houses that have blocked the drainages are putting other lives and other properties in danger. Because when you block the drainage where the drainage is supposed to pass, when water comes and it doesn't find, it will go to other places and even to the higher places and put people's homes and people's lives in danger. So the government will have to go back to the master plan that has already been designed.
All right, Joseph Onoja is the Director General, Nigerian Conservation Foundation. Bid us farewell to the Queen, then in the United Kingdom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.